Man, I cannot lose my job right now. I'm still paying off that painting I bought.
Hey. Cooler's original movie has always been one of the few Dragon Ball films that could slip into the timeline almost seamlessly. Set during the 3 years before the androids arrive, Frieza's older brother descends to Earth seeking revenge for the humiliation Goku brought upon their entire clan. And just like his younger brother, Cooler too is defeated by the Super Saiyan and blasted into the sun, seemingly erased forever. But his story isn't over, because fans have brought him back to seek revenge on Goku in this Sparking Zero custom battle. Now, I had originally found this on stream a while back, and the premise of it absolutely warranted its own video. Alongside that, we're also diving back into time travel in this episode, highlighting a few very different takes on the timeline and how Trunks' interferences reshape the events that unfold. Each version plays with the ripple effect in its own way, showing how one decision can completely alter the course of events. That's enough yapping, let's get into the first story. Now, since the defeat of Goku, Cooler has been drifting through space in pieces. Eventually, his remains are found by the Big Getty Star. It absorbs him, merges with his consciousness, and turns him into something far colder. A machine with Cooler's mind and the star's endless hunger. Now we know what happens in the main timeline. He attempts to take over New Namek and Goku and Vegeta take him out, but the question is, what happens to Cooler in the future? The timeline where Goku dies to the heart virus, Earth loses its protector, and when the androids 17 and 18 appear, the Dragon Team fall one by one. The world collapses into a shadow of what it once was, leaving only Gohan and Trunks as its final defenders. But this new story doesn't follow the history that we know. During Gohan's final stand, Trunks wakes up and rushes to save his mentor, only to share his same fate. Both warriors fall in the rain side by side. With no one left, Bulma drags their bodies home and begins working on the time machine alone. She refuses to let this be their ending. 2 years pass, and on the broken Earth, the Big Getty Star arrives, latching onto the dying planet like a parasite. Cooler has returned. He's searching for Goku, ready to fulfill his revenge, but instead he finds two twins walking through the ruins, and a world already torn apart. Android 17 sees him first and mistakes him for Frieza, attempting to cure his boredom by taking him on, but being mistaken for his little brother only enrages him, sending us into the first battle of the story. Now, this is a solid foundation for the story, and even with minimal dialogue or transitions between the characters, the story itself is strong enough to carry your attention to each section. Cooler's power, fueled by the Big Getty Star, overwhelms Android 17, and he drags him through the shattered cities, humiliating him as 17 fades off. And when Android 18 sees her brother fall, she jumps in for the second battle of this mission, only to share the same fate. Cooler ends this battle, destroying both androids with a supernova.
A waste of my time.
After the dust settles, Cooler senses something else. A type of energy just popped back into this world. Something that wasn't here just moments before. Bulma has returned from the past. The mission successful. She's delivered the heart medicine to Goku and ensured that he lives on to fight the androids. But listening in on her celebration, Cooler learns everything. He appears before her, kills her, and takes the time machine for himself. If Goku is alive in another timeline, then he will chase him there. He will finally have his revenge. The next battle takes us to May 12th. At 10 AM, age 767, the day the androids attack. But there's something different here. Bulma's interference has already changed the course of events that we're used to. Goku, Piccolo, and Gohan have destroyed Android 19, and now they've cornered Dr. Gero. But just as they move in, Cooler descends from the sky, and with him, this timeline's Big Getty Star. His presence is already unsettling as he comes barreling in ready to take out Goku. Immediately recognizing it as Cooler, but assuming Gero interfered and made him an android too. Before the cast can ask more questions, Cooler starts the fight. Before the next match starts, Goku orders Gohan to run as the fight is going to be too dangerous for the young Saiyan. The battle starts, and after you deal some damage to Goku, the heart virus strikes mid-battle. His energy crashes, his body starts to fail, and Cooler begins to finally get his revenge, but before the finishing blow lands, Gohan rushes in and kicks Cooler away, doing anything he can to save his father. But this act of bravery doesn't last long. After you take out Gohan's HP bar, Cooler begins to charge a supernova to destroy him, but just like years prior, Piccolo leaps in and takes the blast, saving Gohan but dying in the process. Earth loses its Guardian and its Dragon Balls, setting the heroes up for a very difficult battle ahead. Enraged, Goku forces his failing heart to keep beating. At the finale of this match, we are met with a roar that shakes the battlefield. Goku surges into a Super Saiyan. He launches a massive Kamehameha, pouring the last of his strength into the blast.
You try
It engulfs Cooler completely, tearing through his metal shell and wiping him from existence, or so they believe. No one notices what's going on around them. Goku defeated one Cooler, but rows of them start to pour in, and we then spend the last half beating Goku as he continues to try and fight back while also dealing with the heart virus. Eventually this leads to a massive death ball that swallows him whole, vaporizing Earth's mightiest hero in an instant. After now getting up, Gohan flees from the battlefield and hopes to regroup with the others and try to make a game plan. Meanwhile in the chaos, Dr. Gero attempts to escape. He runs towards his lab, desperate to awaken androids 17 and 18 as his final trump card, but he never makes it. The metal coolers cut him off, severing his path and eliminating him. And that's where the story stops. It looks like the original creator never came back to finish it, which isn't uncommon, but it's still a little disappointing considering how much potential is left on the table. Gohan is alive, Vegeta is alive, and now you got two massive threats in Cell and Cooler on a collision course. Goku still knows about the Room of Spirit and Time, and with King Kai's help, he could easily guide someone there with Gohan to prepare for what's coming. Now even with it unfinished, what we got is generally a treat. Cooler interfering in the future timelines isn't something you see often, and removing Trunks from the picture adds real tension. Now this episode dropped on 11/8/2024, and at this point it's unlikely we'll see a continuation. But there's clearly room to expand this, and if anyone in the community wants to pick it up and run with it, the groundwork is already there. We open this next story at a moment we all know too well. King Cold's ship touches down on Earth, but instead of Frieza stepping out to face his fate, it's Cooler, standing beside his father. In this version of events, Frieza never survives, leaving Cooler and King Cold to carry out the revenge plot themselves. As usual, Trunks jumps in, but he notices something is off. This isn't Frieza. Even then, it doesn't slow him down. He transforms into a Super Saiyan and makes quick work of King Cold in the opening fight. But when Cooler steps in, that tone shifts. Trunks' attack barely registering, and Cooler holds his ground throughout the entire match. As you start to do less and less damage, Goku eventually intervenes with a Kaioken strike that does little to change the momentum. Not knowing who Trunks is, Goku tells him to fall back and takes the fight on himself. This next phase is done very well. You're given the option to transform, and doing so feels almost necessary just to keep the pace up. And even then, Cooler's durability becomes more apparent as the battle keeps going on, eventually leading for him to transform into his final form, and landing a gut-punching counterattack that knocks Goku out of Super Saiyan entirely.
Show you true hell!
Piccolo and Vegeta step in to buy some time while Vegeta belittles Goku for not being able to finish him off as a Super Saiyan. Piccolo is suggesting the Spirit Bomb as their only viable option to survive here. The match does a wonderful job of conveying how much weaker they are than Cooler, as neither Vegeta or Piccolo can do any type of damage to Cooler. Your goal here is to survive as long as you can. Before Piccolo is taken out completely, Vegeta swaps in. But like I said before, not even the Prince of Saiyans can do any damage to this tyrant. Trunks returns into the field right before watching his father get killed off by Cooler, and that uphill struggle continues on. After sustaining enough punishment, Goku finally announces that the Spirit Bomb is ready, and this is where the alternative routes really shine. With a high difficulty CPU and a limited opportunity to send out the Spirit Bomb because of the sparking meter going down so fast, choosing the right moment to release the attack honestly creates a real sense of anxiety. Now if the Spirit Bomb connects, Cooler's driven into the sun, restoring the timeline and leading directly into Goku receiving his heart medicine from Trunks. But if you miss, Cooler takes the opportunity to send a supernova back at Goku, destroying him and everyone on the planet Earth along with him. But if you're able to land that Spirit Bomb, the story folds back into main timeline events from there, making this just a slight divergence from the original events. This is an outstanding custom battle. Cooler feels like a genuine threat throughout the entirety of it. I've always been a big fan of storytelling through gameplay, so stripping away any damage the cast can do to Cooler because of that power gap is very welcomed, and the addition of the time-sensitive objective really adds in an anxiety I don't really get from playing video games anymore. This custom battle diverges just enough from the original story to still feel fresh while returning back to the original timeline's progression. As always, I'll throw it back to you guys. Do you think the story goes too far, or does it actually work within the Dragon Ball world? And if it continued, where do you see it heading next? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you made your own custom battle, drop the code down below so myself and other members of the community can check it out. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like. It helps really push the video out more to people who want to see this kind of content. If you're new here, consider subbing. This is my Dragon Ball Gap channel where I just talk about, honestly, really anything. It's been your local overanalyzer Art Tellings, and I hope you have yourself a damn good one.